Good morning. Welcome to Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network 2S television. My name is Merciful Ajinmo. Thank God it's Friday. We're having Mr. Adebayo Fajimi join us today to analyze some stories. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
We start from the Blueprint newspaper for this morning. And the banner headline there is investigation Nigeria to pay off $3.5 billion debt to China 2047. Of course, that's on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Mr. Adebayo, this is a big number, and 2047 is like, just like the writer says, the loans will actually outlive 6 administrations, because I think from the writer, the first one, it says $1.5 billion paid loans to outlive 6 administrations. Do you think this is actually possible?
Of course, it is, because if you look at the level at which Nigerian government have been taking loans from external countries, it's at a very alarming fecund rate. And if you look at it, for 2047, so from now it's 25 years. So it's very long. So like I used to say that borrowing, taking a loan is not even really the matter, but how judiciously are we using this fund? That is the issue. Because if you borrow money and you want to maximize it, for enterprise, for business, for whatever sake that is going to bring return, that is, reasonable. But in our own case, we take money and we divert this money into something else. At the end of the day, we don't have any result for the money we have taken. So that is my own fear, that even my own children, your own children may likely pay for this, because in 25 years time, you can imagine, if we are still alive though, where we will be and where our children will be. So my fear is just that, what is going to be our fate at the end of the day. So it's very sad. It's very sad. And going forward, I think Nigerian government to really need to do something better with all this, because if they are taking money, and you see all these people living large, and yet despite doing all this, they don't cut the expenses of government. So it's really pathetic. It's really
I know
pathetic.
that Nigerians have decried the rate at which projects are not being fulfilled, and the things that loans are being taken for, they are not seen, it's not feasible. But don't you think that some of these projects actually take time?
Yes, even though they take time, but okay? Do we have quality assurance? What hope do we have that even these things that they are even doing,
something's actually being done,
can stand the test of time? That is the big question. That's the big question.
Quality assurance. Okay, on that story, we see some writers also. Finance Minister Lawan justify federal government's decision. Funds invested on 17 capital projects. And then DMO allays fear of China takeover of Nigeria. Of course, we've seen people talking about China takeover, and now this debt, this $3.5 billion debt. Is this actually a thing that we can say, it's possible in Nigeria?
It is not possible. Nigeria is a sovereign state, so whatever anybody is insinuating should just come to an end. That is not possible. The only thing that is probably could happen is maybe they take over the asset, but I think Nigeria will always find means or way to ensure that this money is returned.
Okay, still on that paper, Blueprint. Beside the picture of the day, Customs targets 3.019 trillion naira revenue in 2022. The writer says Senate to strengthen agency for better performance. That's on page 8 of the Blueprint newspaper. From the very top, federal government, why we okayed Kyari's extradition to the US. The writer says NDLEA slams 8-count charge against embattled DCP, 6 others. That continues on page 6. What would you say of this issue that has, been on the news for a long time now, on and off, and now we are seeing this happen every day? People are talking about his extradition, and what is the state of Abe Kyari at this time?
It is very sad. It is a story of grace to grass, as we are seeing it. But I think my expectation personally as an individual is that whatever needs to be done should be done the way it should be done. And if this guy is found guilty, he should be made to face the wrath of law. And it's really going to serve as a very big lesson to those people who put talent and skill ahead of character, because what is playing out here is moral, is a moral issue. Because despite its achievement, despite its feat, its fame, and all of that, at the end of the day, it is very sad that it is somebody like him could be found in issues like this. So, if at the end of the day is found guilty, Nigerian government must not carpet this. It should be made to face the music.
Okay, on the Daily Trust newspaper, the banner headline, they're talking about Russia-Ukraine war. Operational hitches delay evacuation of stranded Nigerians. Two others, the first, anxiety heightens among parents, and the second, citizens' refusal to return responsible. That's coming from a government official. I know this would definitely come on, because I was having a conversation with someone one time and I said, some of these Nigerians, remember we spoke about the issue of people traveling outside the country looking for a better life, greener pastures, going to study to make their lives better. Now this has come. We're having an issue, Russia-Ukraine crisis, and now we are expecting the government to take people from Ukraine back to Nigeria and other countries, of course. And now we are seeing a rider that says citizens' refusal to return responsible. I mean, there are some people who are refusing to come back to Nigeria. What's your take on that?
Because they know the situation at home, and in fact, I've had people saying several times that they would rather prefer to die, outside the show than to
come back to Nigeria.
than to come back to Nigeria, because of the situation of Nigeria. Living up there, you have, at least to a large extent, you have this sense of security. You have means of life, no matter how bad it is. But here in Nigeria, even those who are working are still struggling to eat. You can imagine how bad it is. You cannot walk freely. Whether you are poor or you are rich, you don't even know what can come of, what can happen to you at any point in time. So there are a lot of issues that we are battling with as a nation that is discouraging, those people outside there to not want to come back to Nigeria. So I think it's the reality, of Nigeria as we speak.
All right, I hope everything turns out fine at the end of the day. Still on that paper from the very bottom, ISWAP training suicide bombers to attack security agent communities. That's coming from DSS, of course. You can get it on page 6. On the Punch, the banner headline, governors film over falling FAAC funds carpet NNPC. You can get that story on page 17. And then Ukraine says Nigerian fighters must provide $1,000 for ticket visa. That's coming on page 2. I know this is as a result of Nigerians coming out to say they can fight for Ukraine. I know you have a thing or two to say about that, but okay, let's hear you. Some Nigerians are actually saying they will rather go out to Ukraine and fight for the government. What do you say about that?
What stake do they have in Ukraine to go on? They don't have any stake in Ukraine. Rather than doing that, we should rather face the problem we're having in Nigeria, and let's face it. So, because Nigeria belongs to us. So, what stake do they have in Ukraine? They don't have anything there. They don't.
All right, and that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. On the Nation newspaper, the banner headline there is our concerns about 2023 general election by INEC. That's on the very front page. There is security threat, says PDP. Political spending pushes up demand for dollar. That continues on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And on the business day, the banner headline there is amid poor power supply, federal government vows to sanction discourse. That, of course, continues on page 31 of the business day. Besides that, APC chairmanship aspirant intensify lobby ahead of convention, and that continues on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. Thank you so much, Mr. Adebayo, for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, viewers, for staying tuned. Don't forget, you can always stay updated on our website. That is www.tostvnetwork.com on happenings in Nigeria and across Africa. And you can be a part of our social media. That is at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so you do not miss out on anything. My name is Merciful Ojinamo. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.